Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Jack's Business Talk.
So my name is Lindsay. I am Linda's investing and I invest out of state. I live in California, Los Angeles, and I invest in Gary, Indiana, not such a popular market, but I'm in the company of Jack and Dylan today.
Hey everyone, I'm Dylan Pettijohn. I'm a realtor and investor realtor in Indianapolis. It's also where I have my whole investment portfolio too. Yeah, happy to be here.
And I'm Jack, and you guys probably maybe have seen me on Jack's Business Talk. And I invest in the Pittsburgh market, and I live near Pittsburgh. So that's why I picked Pittsburgh.
Very nice. So do you want to jump into what's going on in your market and like what you're seeing in Pittsburgh and why people should be looking there?
So what is going on here mostly is the fact that the houses are older, and that's a con actually, but like the houses are older so that you can get into them for less money. You have sometimes some significant repairs, like right here on the job site I'm on right now. There's an electrician. They found knob and tube, and it's going to be a complete rewire. So to try and save time, I'm working around him. That's who heard me talking to before we got started about what rooms he's done with, what's my best option. So after I'm done with this room, I'm going to go upstairs. But we have terracotta plumbing, which is the clay pipes, which is another downside. But you can buy a rental property potentially you can buy a duplex for like in the 120 to 200 range, and depending on where you buy it, can cash flow like anywhere to from 1,000 to 1,600. And that's one of the biggest reasons why people want to come here is for the cash flow, although it's not an appreciating market. And a lot of why it's such an older town, and I don't mean older in the sense of like the houses because they're built in 1850s, some of them. I mean older is because in a sense that we have an elderly population. It's one of the largest in the country, so we don't see a lot of appreciation growth. So us staying level is actually a good thing because it means that the elderly are just not here, and there's other people moving in for all the other jobs that we have, the tech industry and everything else. And so we're kind of staying status quo, which is actually a good thing. And but with that being said, like a lot of these houses haven't been updated since like the 70s or the 80s, in some cases, the 60s. But if you're handy or you like managing projects and stuff, you'd be in the school community, you're more than welcome to reach out to me and find out more about Pittsburgh. Join our live stream or whatever you choose to do. Dylan, why don't you tell us about Indiana?
I got to do Indianapolis because Lynn is also in Indiana too. So we deal with something very similar in Indy, and this is something that I've been kind of looking at both ways that I can take this because I've been looking at the build to rent model as well as just doing what I've been doing because there's just so much work involved in buying some of these properties, like whether I'm buying a 1900s house that was converted into a duplex, or I'm buying like a 1970s duplex. Or there was a house that I toured recently that I sent the broker some feedback on, and it sounded like they were like heavily motivated to sell, but it's knob and tube wiring. You can see all the tape seams from the drywall. The roof is
Mhm.
wavy. So it's just, I'm looking at, am I willing to do all of this work to get a similar product that I can do with development that's going to be a little bit more expensive? But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been looking at in my market. Now, as far as like the actual inventory in this market, I have seen an uptick in the multifamily that's coming on market, and it seems to be at more reasonable price points than they were trying to list last year. I see a lot of the same properties that just got taken off market because they couldn't get what they wanted, listing at more reasonable prices. There's a specific property that I'm looking at now, and I actually have to go see later today that is a duplex that originally listed in the 400s, and I've been wanting to offer on this property, but I was telling the listing agent that I was somewhere around $300,000, and the owners just were not going to have that. And they just listed again. Actually, I think it was earlier today, and it's at 335. And since I'm a broker now, I could offer them like 310, 315. I'm still going to get like a, 3% commission on purchasing the property. And it puts me back around that 300 price point, which is really nice. But yeah, so it seems like, even at the lower end, depending on what you're wanting to work on, uh, we're seeing inventory sit a little bit more, and the sellers price, like they don't have as much strength as they used to. Like it seems like it's more in the buyer's court right now, at least what I'm seeing. That makes sense.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm very young in my market. I just started investing in 2022.
Hmm.
And then so over the last 3 years, I got into my market because of Millennial Mike, and he was having so much success into his rentals. But my market is very close to downtown Chicago.
Hmm.
And like I live in Los Angeles, I work in the city and I live in the suburbs. And if you compare like the markets are pretty much the same distance. So Indiana, borderline Indiana, like Hammond, like Gary, have a lot of access to jobs via traveling, commuting to Chicago, right? And then so that's one of the reasons that I started investing there. And then, but there's also been a shift in the market in which there's been a lot of investors, from what I noticed from 2022 up until now, that have come and have renovated a lot of properties, and which is a problem that's coming into the whole country. If like there's an oversupply of houses, not enough buyers. I also see that moving into Gary over the
Hmm.
last like year since 2025 started. There's a lot of flip houses. There's a lot of new remodels, and then so now that's driving the prices up in what you would consider entry level single home price point starting points. It used to be that when I was looking at it in 2022, it would be like between 70 to 100K houses, which what Jack is saying, something that is doable for most people. But now 100 and plus is when you would see entry level recently renovated houses.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that your like the overall cash on cash you guys are able to find on deals now is a little bit lower just because the prices are moving up. One thing that I see though when I go into a market that's heavily flipped is some people's some people's expectations of what they need to do on a flip are a lot different than mine. So I'll see a lot of properties that have been flipped, but they're like the cheapest materials that you can use for everything. And I get that in Gary, it's a lower price point, but like you said, you're 30 minutes from Chicago. If like my city was moved up to where Gary is, that's the exact same drive I do every day when I'm going down to show people properties in Indianapolis.
Mhm.
So I don't see like any reason why that doesn't continue to grow a ton as a market. But yeah, no, I've seen a lot of flips around here too, especially in downtown Indy. I know it's been super popular all over a lot of the different podcasts and stuff like that. But yeah, some of the work I've seen on some of those flips is just not up to what I expect, and they want like the price for like the good flip too, which is annoying.
I think that's just a nationwide issue with flippers in general because I know I've seen in Pittsburgh, I've walked in and be like, this house was recently flipped, and it's just like, the wires are all loose in the rafters, like they're actually like they weren't tied up neat or anything. The the
They're
trim
exposed.
wasn't the trim wasn't fitted right. There's nothing was done to like call for the high end numbers,
Hmm.
and but they're asking high end number prices.
Yeah, or like even the people doing turnkey rentals, because I've seen a fair bit of that too. Like they're flipping it to investors. Like They'll be asking a price point that I would say borderlines making it not able to cash flow on a rental property, but they're not doing the things to the properties that like need to be done to make it a quality property, such as like if it's one of those older 1900s houses or anything before 1940, really, I think needs to have some sort of leveling done throughout the floors because generally they're wavy in different spots, or like when you're walking around the support beams, like you can feel that the floor raises around there
Mhm.
where it's lower in different areas. And I've walked into a few houses where I'm like, wow, this is like a roller. Like, yeah, they say it's freshly renovated, but like it's like a roller coaster walking through the house, like going up and down and up and down all over the floors.
Yeah.
So, what are you guys aiming to do this year? As far as expanding the portfolio, are you guys working on stabilizing everything right now, or what's the move?
I just want to stabilize, finish up some projects. I know in the winter I got one renovation to do I've been putting off for over a year now. So if I can get the prep work done, like get the roof put on, and if I can get the roof put on, then I'm probably going to go ahead and start doing some of the prep work with just other little stuff, like if I can get the work on getting everything removed out of the place, including most of the appliances aren't getting reused. And that would be a huge step in the right direction. And then after that, I can kind of just go in, work on the flooring because I can do the flooring. I'll do the floor myself for most of it. And then I'll paint the walls. There's a few patch holes I need to do, rehang a banister. I'll have to contact the electrician about rewiring a lot of it though. So again, that goes into a lot of the prep work that needs to be done before I even get in there.
Yeah, that makes sense. How about you, Lynn?
Yeah, so you both of you guys are kind of investing in your backyard. So
Mhm.
it's very easy to like be hands-on and like you're talking about the electrical and then go and see it and go get quotes and go to it's like my things are not as fast because I am out of state. And then sort of rely heavily on property managers, realtors, wholesalers, or whatever. But this year, I was mentioning it earlier that last year I bought a lot of properties. There were deepers than rehabs. And then so this year was finishing on those rehabs and getting them rented. I still have one property I haven't even touched for burrs because I was waiting on money to come back to me so I can deploy again. So far I've been self-funding all my deals. And then so that I think that also takes some time for something to get burr and then something to get rented and then start getting some income before you just start doing payments. I think I'm in that point in which like I could take more on deals and get private money and hard money or whatever, but I'm still not comfortable to like scale with that amount of debt before stabilizing what I have right now.
I'm right there with you. We were talking about that earlier. How we've got like five house renovations going on, and I've also been renovating our apartment building that we bought at the same time. So we're just trying to get to the point where we're not spending all of our money plus some every single month. So get the whole thing stabilized, and we're looking to. I'm looking to maybe add a house hack this year. I've done this in the past, but right now I'm staying in a house currently, and then I'm looking to buy a duplex closer to where I want to live long term. And I've been seeing some pop on the market, like I was saying earlier, where I'm going to be going to look at. There's two that just popped up today that I'm going to be looking at. And yeah, probably just add that. Not too much movement with the total portfolio this year. More really focused on growing the agent side of the business and stabilizing what we already have.
Yeah, I'm kind of doing the same thing with the handyman business. I'm trying to get it up to a certain point, and I'm trying to get my name out there a little bit and do extra work because not that I don't mind picking up a W-2 overtime shift and stuff, but it's just when you just really don't like your job and like it just feels like it's rotting a hole in you. it's really hard to want to go do that. I'd rather do something completely different so that I can kind of make comparable money after it's done, or even more in some cases. But it's hard getting your name out there, and that's why I'm just kind of focusing on that, because it's just like I can make more money, but it's just not stable. Where, well, even the W-2 isn't really stable. Like some weeks they'll have it, other weeks they won't. I'm probably gonna do a combination of both, because it's just I'm trying to really get these projects done, and I just need to bring in the funds for it.
No, it makes sense. Lynn, didn't you post something like very similar to that recently? Like about like what you do versus, like getting to that other thing that you really enjoy doing.
Yeah, so I'm a nurse. I used to work in the hospital setting 12 hours days, and I switched to more of a outpatient setting, which comes with a pay cut. And even though my work is less stressful, it's still pretty stressful.
Hmm.
So I don't hate particularly my W-2, but I do not want to make more, like continue to do overtime or get an additional job to get more money. Like I don't, that's not what I want. And that's where
Yeah.
the real estate comes in. And yeah, that is like the full-time me person, but the part-time person on the weekends and after work is just creating, that wealth building tool with the rentals or with the borrowings, with the flips.
Gotcha. And do you see yourself at some point, relatively soon in the future switching over? Because you had mentioned that you didn't want to switch to doing hard money and private money yet until you stabilize what you have currently. Do you see yourself sometime soon switching over to real estate fully, or do you like doing both?
I think I will continue to try to do both. I think because in my area where I work as an MP, there's the possibility of working for myself.
Mhm.
So kind of like what you're doing, right? You're working for yourself as a broker. And then so I could do that. I actually started already, but only for a few hours of the week. So I would like that to grow possibly in the next year. And so that would leave the schedule super flexible for me to even deliver more time into the real estate. Like I twinkle with the idea of going and living in Illinois and having be in the backyard of my market and even grow more there, right? Northwestern Indiana, not just Gary, like Hammond, Muncie, Hobart, or other markets like Griffith, for example. But only when I would be working for myself that will make sense. Right now, like I'm so inflexible, even like taking time off, it's like a 2 month venture, right? I have to plan it 2 months in advance, take the time off, get it approved, and then fly somewhere. So
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I just know a lot of us like our end goal is like just do the portfolio. So I always got to ask because I know like some people actually enjoy what they do, so it's a little bit different.
you forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a conversation once with someone. I was telling him, oh, it was Dion. That's who it was. I was talking with Dion, joking with him. And he's like, I love the job, because he always says how much he loved his job. It was in some ways hard for him to quit. I was like, I don't have that problem. It's like I'm just either not going to show up one day and they can figure it out, or I'm just going to hand him my badge and be like, hey, guess what? Done. See ya.
Hmm. No, I feel that. I think I quit a little bit earlier than I should have, but at the same time, it was like the perfect timing for me to be able to quit because I had an emergency fund and everything like that. Well, I still have an emergency fund, but I had
I
the
had it and
savings
then
in
it went
place.
away.
Yeah, yeah. Well, slowly just dwindling away with, you gotta throw those transactions in there so, you build it back up. But yeah. No, I'm glad that I did make the jump at the time I did. It's just more of figuring out the real estate agent piece because I also jumped in at a time where I'm talking to agents and they're like, hey, like year over year transaction, or not year over year, but like over the past few years, transactions are down like 40%. So it's a way harder time. And I'm like, well, I'm not selling houses to home buyers, so I feel like it'll be a little bit easier, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like
And plus,
realtors have taken I don't know. Every time I talk to a realtor, not in my market in particular, but in Los Angeles, they really don't want to argue with the seller or
Hmm.
even present the opportunities. I don't know. I feel like I get that sense when I go to real estate meetups. They are just like, whoa, they don't understand. This is not 2020 anymore. But I'm like, well, make them understand. Like, this is, show them the stats. This is how many houses were sold last month. This is how many offers do you have. This is what, if you're open to creative finance or any other ventures. But they're like, oh, they just don't understand it. And that's where the conversation ends. I'm like, "Hmm."
Yeah, I think it's easier for them to lie and get the sellers under contract and get a listing agreement, and then once they're under contract, they can say, "Well, it looks like we're not getting any bites at this price, so we're gonna have to lower the price," which feels very disingenuous to me. I would rather tell them the truth, and then they're like, "You know what? We're gonna find a different realtor." And they're like, "Somebody else can lie to you, that's fine, but when you guys sell for closer to what we were expecting you were gonna sell for." Maybe you'll realize, hey, this person was telling the truth, this other person was lying.
Mhm.
So would you then say with our properties in the Midwest then that it people are still stuck in like the buyer's mindset, like the seller's mindset where the prices are inflated and the buyers aren't seeing the buyer's market necessarily so much here?
Yeah, I don't see a lot of transactions going on my market. So I see houses just lingering there. And I don't see the price cuts that I would expect them to see, right? Like if the price cuts are like they're happening, but they're like 1,000, 2,000 over, like that's not gonna make a difference on
Yeah.
on the market.
No,
I'm
what they're
kind
pretty. Oh, sorry, Jack.
I was to say I'm kind of starting to see a little bit more inventory, but I'm not seeing a better price net per se.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing stuff delist and then go back on market at a different price point. Like I was saying, that one, I mean, I believe they started at 430, 440 is what they had listed that duplex net, and then they just relisted today for 335. So. Yeah, I mean, the
That's a
thing is,
big
I
cut.
I had been sending them stuff for like 6 months, 7 months, like, hey, I would buy it at this price. Hey, I'd buy it at this price. And they're like, no, 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 no. Like now they listed for close to my price, so I
Mhm.
might be able to get a transaction done there.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've been seeing some things too here that I thought would move faster because they're at lower price points, but they're just still sitting on the market because it seems like people just I mean there's just not somebody that wants that kind of property right now. I mean like there's one that I'm looking at that's 150 and we're looking at offering them like 90 because I sent the listing agent just a list of everything that needs done. I'm like, you have knob and tube wiring, you need a new roof, you need the floors done, the drywall's all messed up. And they were like, hey, just send us something that reflects, like what everything that you had just mentioned because my sellers are extremely motivated to sell the property. And I'm like, I don't think you should use the word extremely because that just makes me want to go lower on
Yeah,
the price that I'm going to offer. But
love
yeah,
that for you though.
yeah, I was going to aim for like 80 or 90. And then, if all that work is like 40, 50K, and then we rent it for $1,500 a month, I think that's pretty good. But
Yeah.
That's the house hack you were talking about.
no, that is just another house.
Okay.
Because something I've been doing lately, just trying to like sharpen my skills a little bit as an investor agent, is I've been just booking every house I see, like a showing, uh, for anything that's below $200,000 in close markets to me. And then I go tour the property with my camera. I'm like taking videos, explaining like what I'm seeing issues wise and stuff like that and then taking pictures of the roof and like the foundation, the walls and stuff like that. And I've been putting them all in a list and I'm wanting to start sending that out to like investors in my market. I just have to kind of like build up the list of investors to send it to because I have a few people, but like not too many. And yeah, the hope there is like one, I'm getting them interest in these properties because some of these have been sitting on the market for a minute. So maybe we can get some sort of deal done, whether it's, they're listed at 150, we offer them 100, and then we kind of meet in the middle somewhere, or whatever ends up needing to happen to make it make sense for the investors. But just kind of building up my reputation in my market as an investor agent. So just trying to just keep pushing stuff out there like, hey, I'm looking at properties every single day. I'm running numbers every single day. I see these same issues in a lot of the properties that I go to. So just showing that I'm familiar with the market.
Jack, do you house hack?
I do sort of ish. So I
You
bought
your fiance rent?
she house hacks in a different way too.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, but this is where it's going to get confusing. So I live in three different places.
You're homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm basically homeless.
His car in three different Walmart parking lots.
Sam's Clubs.
Oh,
Oh my.
But no, so I have or I live in a place and where I bought the double duplex. I live in one of those places, but I kind of just more or less use it as a place to get mail and an office, more or less.
hmm
And I just hardly ever sleep there because I know it sounds ridiculous, but like 20 minutes the complete wrong direction or a half hour the complete wrong direction starts to wear on you. So like I'll stay there like for like a maybe a overnight once or twice a month. But then like between work shifts, I found it's more convenient because my parents are getting older and they're having trouble. I literally just I sleep on an old cot that I bought for camping at my parents' house so I can get a bunch of stuff done between work shifts. And then when I'm not between work shifts, I usually go down to Cynthia's
Mhm.
where she's house hacking in a completely different manner because she lives there and likes to live in a construction site the entire time. And then she gets to the point where she's like, "This is so beautiful. This is great. I want to live here. Let's go buy another one." And she'll rent that place out and then use part of the fund, or like, and she'll refinance it and use part of the funds to buy another place and then to max out her 401k. She's actually doing exactly like Mindy Jensen does, except she doesn't sell it. She just refinances it and she tries to keep equity right up or between 60 and 70%. That way she's not creating gators and stuff.
Hmm.
Hmm.
60 to 70% equity on a property is pretty high. I'm not gonna lie. Like usually on acquisition, I'm at like 25%, and then through value add, we land usually around 50 or so. So that's very
Because
conservative, but rates are high, so I applaud doing that.
Mhm.
well, I should say she likes to keep the mortgage at between 60 to 70%, and she keeps about 40, like 30 to
Oh,
40% equity.
Mm.
I
gotcha.
said that backwards. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no
Is this
worries.
via your guidance, or does she already have that foot in real estate before?
So her story was she was interested in real estate way before she ever met me. But then like she had like everyone in her family was like they're from Italy and they believe in debt as a cancer, regardless whether it's good or bad. They're like, no, it's bad. Pay everything in cash. Don't worry about your credit score. You don't need one. So like she realized a lot of this stuff is wrong, but like it when I was watching Bigger Pockets, she really kind of got fascinated with Mindy Jensen. And that's kind of where she got the strategy from. And she just like, well, I don't agree with selling the property. She's like, because that's nothing for retirement. And she's like, and I don't necessarily believe in the stocks, although I'm going to invest in the stock market. So that's kind of where how she came up with her plan.
Interesting. No, there's a different, that's why I like real estate so much though. There's really like different avenues for everyone. Like I was just talking to a lady at an event I was at last night that does mixed use and self-storage. And I was like, I bought small multifamily, so I transitioned to bigger multifamily, but we're gonna have to have a conversation about this mixed use and self-storage because she was saying that it in her words, it prints. So I need to figure this business out. because she's got triple net leases too. So the tenants have to take care of everything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like one thing she was saying was with the storage units, they don't sell the locks to people. They rent the locks for $2.50 per
Really?
month. So, if you have 100 units, that's $250 a month just in lock fees. It's ridiculous.
Huh.
Wow.
Like, man, I gotta figure all this stuff out. This is amazing.
So I don't know about you guys, but I think we may be at a good stopping point for this first episode
Yeah.
because they're going to see lots of us. Because after all, this is going to be a weekly thing that's coming up.
Sweet. Yeah, we can go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.
See ya.